After over 2 weeks of traveling through Taiwan and Malaysia, I had one final stop before heading home to San Francisco. 3 days, 2 nights, just me in Taipei. There was not a long sightseeing list. No major attraction left to check off. This stop was something I rarely planned for myself. Time alone. A chance to slow down before returning to work, responsibilities, and everyday life. But what surprised me most about these few days was not the food, it was the people. One of the highlights was reconnecting with friends from Singapore, who we originally met thousands of miles away on the tour in Peru. At the time, we were simply strangers sharing buses, meals, and long day exploring Machu Picchu together. Yet somehow, here we were again, meeting in Taipei because our travel schedules happened to overlap. The world can feel incredibly large when you are planning a trip, but moments like this make it feel surprisingly small. We met for lunch at 44SV Nanchun Private Kitchen, a restaurant known for its Michelin recognition and creative interpretation of Taiwanese cuisine. The food was excellent, but what I remember most isn't any particular dish. It's the conversations, the stories we exchanged about where we had been since Peru and where life had taken us afterward. The meal was simply the excuse that brought us together. A day after, I met another group of friends, this time from the Bay Area, and somehow they also happened to be in Taipei at the exact same time. We met in Din Tai Fung, maybe one of the most internationally recognized restaurants in Taiwan. And again, I realized something. When people talk about memorable meals, they often focus on the food. But years later, what we usually remember are the people sitting across the table, the laughter, the stories, the connection. The soup dumplings are wonderful, but friendship is what makes the meal memorable. The rest of the trip became a small personal experiment. How much of the restaurant's reputation is truly deserved? And how much comes from the hype, rankings, and social media? One morning, I waited over an hour to try Fuhang soy milk. The line was impressive. The reputation was impressive. The anticipation was impressive. I ordered a salty soy milk, a sweet clay oven roll, and an egg pancake. Everything was good, comforting, traditional, authentically Taiwanese. But after finally sitting down and eating, I found myself asking a question. Would I come back again with the kind of wait? Probably not. Sometimes a famous place is worth experiencing once, not because it changes your life, but because it satisfies your curiosity. A box checked, a story collected. Later that same day, I headed to Moon Moon Food for their famous clam and chicken soup. Another long wait. Another highly recommended spot. The problem was not the soup. The soup was excellent. The problem was me. I was still full from breakfast. Sometimes even great food arrives at the wrong moment. And it reminded me that food isn't experienced in isolation. Hunger matters. Mood matters. Timing matters. The same dish can feel extraordinary one day and merely good the next. One of my more unusual stops was a cafe called Lang Lang Don't Cry. Lang Lang is a Taiwanese reference for stray cats and dogs. This place was part cafe, part animal sanctuary. I did not make a reservation, so I could not get into the dog area and was assigned to the cat section instead, which turned out to be perfectly fine. I wasn't really there for the food anyway. I was there for the animals. Watching cat nap without a care in the world might not be a traditional tourist activity, but after weeks of moving from city to city, it felt oddly relaxing. Maybe that's another lesson travel teaches. Not every memorable experience has to be famous. Sometimes it's simply spending an hour in a room full of cats. One afternoon, I decided to visit Dumbo Coffee. My son had introduced me to it over a year ago. I thought it would be a nice way to revisit a memory. But when I arrived, it was packed. No seats, no chance of staying. A long line for the carry-out window. A year ago, I might have been disappointed. Instead, I simply walked to our night cafe nearby and settled in there. And honestly, that felt fitting. Travel rarely goes exactly as planned. The best experiences often happen after Plan A falls apart. As this short trip in Taipei came to an end, I found myself thinking about all the Michelin stars, Big Gourmands awards, online rankings, and viral recommendations that travelers chase. They are useful. They point us towards good places, but they aren't what makes a trip meaningful. The meals I remember most from these few days weren't memorable because they were Michelin-recognized. They were memorable because of who I shared them with. Friends from Peru, friends from California, memories of traveling with my son, and a few quiet moments spent entirely on my own. In the end, the true value of recommendation isn't necessarily the food. It's the opportunity it creates to connect, to pause, to share a story. And sometimes that's worth far more than any ranking a guidebook can give. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and stay tuned for my next adventure. Bye!